Okay, so the subject of this session is about negotiation and contracts, which you might wonder what has to do with domain-driven design. Well, actually, if we don't care about corner cases, and if you agree, raise your hand if you agree that we should care about the 90% of the problems before caring about the last 10%. Then I would ask you, have you ever seen a technical project fail for technical reasons? Which basically means not finding the right algorithm to solve the problem and not finding the right infrastructure to support that algorithm. I've been coding since 1984. I'm much older than I look. And I've been working in software development since 1997. And I've been coding in the kernel space. I own 3 companies. I destroyed the first 2. The third one was much better. But still, all those failures across these decades of coding, I have never seen a technical project fail for technical reason. Basically, all the problems were coming out from relational issues, even when the relational part of the issue was a little bit hidden among the technicalities. So, fixing problems in software development is social or technical? I guess we got the answer yesterday. Anybody of you were at the foundations sessions? Okay, fine. Yesterday we have a very interesting session about the socio-technical environment of software development. Well, so my point today here is that DDD is not enough to guarantee the success of a software project unless we extend its very valuable solutions and lessons to a wider end-to-end mindset about the software development process. Which basically means that if we have a problem in software development about technical issues and we agree that maybe the root cause of that technical issue is somehow relational, then we should climb up the root causes up to fixing the social root cause of any technical issue. Let me just turn this. Today, there was a very interesting session from David West. Have you seen that? He mentioned the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which basically states that we think in a way that is highly influenced by the way we talk. And if you think about negotiation and agreements and contracts, you may notice that we always think about counterparts, and in Italian it's the same word, it's controparte, which basically means that we are opposing opponents fighting a fight rather than allied thinkers solving a problem together, which has different goals for me and you. So this dysfunction leads to a sort of a deep version of the Conway's law. Because if the Conway's law, it has been stated many, many times today. So raise your hand if you don't know what the Conway's law is. Double check. Raise your hand if you know it. Okay, there's one person that doesn't know it. So for your convenience, let me help you. The Conway's law is a conjecture that states that the structure of a digital product will reflect the structure of the organization that created it. But I want to extend this concept and say, and even state, that the structure of the agreement you make with your counterparts will shape the relational issues that will lead to technical issues in your software development process. Basically, a waterfall agreement will never allow for a non-waterfall process to be in place. And if we agree that Agile is there to maximize the learning performance of the team, of the whole team, whole with a capital W, okay? I mean that whole team. I'm talking about the extreme programming labeling of the whole team practice. Then if we want to maximize that learning, how can a contract that forces you having a fixed scope, fixed deadline, fixed budget, fixed people, fixed skills, fixed place? Come on, learning is something inherently wasteful and cannot be fixed up front. Otherwise, you're not learning. And that's the reason why I don't care about defining the terms in my contracts in clear ways, but I would rather shape contracts that allow me to validate very often the health of the agreement. Have you ever been, how many of you are freelancers? How many of you are entrepreneurs? How many, all the rest employees? Raise your hands. I want to be unemployed people here. Okay. I mean, with all the due respect. I mean, you're just too. So, the point is, I'm pretty sure that everybody of you has seen at least once in your development software life how a contract was not allowing us to work the way we want. How the contract let the customer sneak into our own working style to define the way we should deliver the value that they even not exactly know how to express. So which is basically a very dysfunctional way of shaping the collaboration, because you don't know what you want, but you know perfectly how should I deliver it to you. And that's fixed in the contract and agreement space, not in the process space. Contracts are usually production-oriented space. We inherit all the agreement devices, all the contracting devices from the industrial world. And basically, we come down to two forms. Time and material, later on. Fixed price. And we know the fixed price has problem because requirements are volatile and blah, 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 blah. I'm keeping it short on the agile arguments because I assume we all agree at least on a certain amount of principles belonging to the agile world, okay? Otherwise, it becomes a session on agile, and it is not. Usually, especially freelancers, I'm looking at you. I am a freelancer. We are charmed by the freedom that time and material contracts give us, because we are free to be wrong, we are free to absorb the volatility of requirements. But according to me, time and material contracts should be forbidden by law. Because basically, the slower worker, the slower professional gets more money if we keep all the rest the same, which is completely dysfunctional. Basically, time and material contracts have an externality on the society in terms of final quality. If we keep on paying people on time and material basis, we end up with a lower quality overall society, because nobody gets any incentive to raise the quality or raise the speed of delivery. And again, fixed price for a reason and time and material for this reason are neither of the two is a learning-oriented contract. They are basically execution-based. When we learn something, we don't know by definition where we'll be ending up, okay? Do you agree on this? If we know what to do, we're not learning, we're just executing. If I am an athlete performing in a race, I'm executing the result of my training. I'm not training anymore. I have to maximize and optimize for performance. But in software development, as in any knowledge work, we have this strange situation in which the execution is the same time as learning, because we sell our learning. A very close friend of mine loves to repeat that it's the ignorance of the developers that goes into production and not their skills. Unless we try to use what DDD has taught us. I don't know whether DDD is a toolbox, a framework, or a method. It's a discussion that can take many days, but again, it's not the right moment. So By the way, DDD is a nice, let's say, toolbox to help all the software development professionals in this discovery process, okay? In discovering what the requirements are, what the right model is, how the domain expert think about their business, and reflect their thinking in our software. And I think this can be done also in the negotiation agreement, because basically we are caring about our needs, their needs, and we are trying to expand this intersection area to maximize the chance that we have success. And a few years ago, I read a book by Fisher, Urey, and Patton. I will send you a link if you want. You can reach me. I will tell you how in the end. This book is called Getting to Yes. Do you know it? It's an amazing book because it was written way before the agile thing came up.
1990s.
But still, I could relate many of the agile lessons in their approach to negotiation. And I said, wow, it's 10 minutes. Okay, fine. I got my timer. You see, this is a negotiation principle. Insist on an objective criteria. So, the point in the Getting to Yes, one of the 4 key points of that book is that you should use the counterpart language to shape your offer to them, which is basically what we learn to do using an ubiquitous language to talk about requirements with our domain experts. Basically, that's the same lesson, that's the same pattern. And I was amazed at the time when I found this true, because actually it works a lot. And in negotiating your agreements, and using the language in contracts too, it has a nice side effect, which is the last point I want to make here. If you talk in the contracts about their language, with their language, and about their needs, there's no chance that your agreement will be value-driven. So instead of invoicing your effort, like in the time and material, in which you invoice your time, so how much sweat you sweated, basically, you start focusing your agreement on the real need. And focusing on the real need is the first key duty of any professional. Impact mapping, user story mapping, even no estimates, no matter what you think about no estimates, and extreme contracts, which is something that I created to express this kind of negotiation, are all intersecting disciplines that are focused on making an impact end-to-end, value-driven, on the real user in real terms that they use. So, any question?
No time for questions.
Okay. One question?
Okay. Just
Any example?
Have you come up with a type of contract that succeeds in implementing the Getting to Yes language?
A few ones. Just the shortest one that I can tell you is just 3 rules. I deliver your software from week 0 every 5 weeks, every 5 days. You pay me a flat fee, not negotiate. It's just 10,000 euros every week. Third, if you're satisfied, I will bring you the working software. If you're satisfied, you pay for the iteration and I deliver it to you. Otherwise, you just refuse the delivery, you keep the money, and we are, in both cases, we are at point 0 again, because we can renegotiate, or we just start another iteration like it was the first one. I'm ready to answer your question offline on jacoporomei.com. Thank you.